A king unlike any other. A man with the strength of gods, yet trapped by his own arrogance. In the ancient city of Uruk, power is both a blessing and a curse. The Epic of Gilgamesh isn't just a tale of heroes, it's a battle against fate, friendship, and the fear of death. What happens when a wild rival emerges to challenge a king's unstoppable reign? Can even the strongest defy destiny? The Epic of Gilgamesh is more than myth, it's a lesson echoing through time. What would you do if you were a king so powerful that no one could stop you? Yet that very power isolated you from the world. Meet Gilgamesh, the demigod ruler of Uruk, a city in ancient Mesopotamia renowned for its grand architecture, temples, and the legendary walls that symbolized its strength. But Gilgamesh wasn't just any king. He was the son of the mortal king Lagul-Banda and the goddess Ninsun, making him two-thirds divine and far more powerful than ordinary humans. His towering strength enabled him to perform heroic feats, his stunning beauty was admired by all, and his longer-than-average lifespan made him an almost eternal presence in Uruk. With great power, however, came arrogance. Instead of using his gifts to guide and protect his people, Gilgamesh succumbed to his darker impulses. He forced his subjects to labor endlessly, building lavish monuments to glorify his name. Worse, his insatiable desire led him to claim any woman he desired, even brides on their wedding day, disregarding the sanctity of marriage. His rule, once celebrated, became a curse. The citizens of Uruk, desperate and disillusioned, prayed fervently to the gods for salvation. Their cries for help echoed across the heavens, reaching the ears of the powerful sky god Anu. Moved by the people's suffering, Anu decided that balance had to be restored. He commanded the goddess Aruru, the creator of life, to design a rival capable of challenging Gilgamesh's unchecked power. Aruru molded Enkidu from divine clay, breathing life into a wild and untamed being. Enkidu was no ordinary creation. He was part man and part beast, embodying raw strength and primal instincts. His purpose was clear: to confront Gilgamesh and force him to reflect on his flaws. But could this wild creature really be the catalyst for change in a king as prideful as Gilgamesh? Before we explore their inevitable clash, consider this. What happens when someone finally confronts a figure who believes they are invincible? Can even the most powerful rulers be humbled when faced with an equal? Think of the modern world. How often do we see those in power brought down, not by external threats, but by the challenge of an equal force within their own lives? Enkidu, the wild man, is born. Far from Uruk, in the wilderness of Mesopotamia, Enkidu was born. He wasn't just any man, he was a hybrid of man and beast. With his body covered in hair and strength comparable to a bull, Enkidu roamed the forests and plains, living among animals. He protected wildlife, drinking water with lions and eating grass alongside gazelles. His connection to nature made him the guardian of the wild, a being who represented balance. But Enkidu had no knowledge of civilization or human life. The goddess Aruru's creation was perfect, yet he was incomplete. He had raw strength, but no understanding of human morality, culture, or compassion. To civilize him, Gilgamesh sent Shamat, a priestess from the temple of Uruk, to seduce and teach him the ways of humans. After 7 nights of passion, Enkidu transformed. He learned to eat bread, wear clothes, and understand human culture. Through Shamat's guidance, Enkidu awakened to his new purpose, not just to live as a human but to bring justice to those who had been wronged. As he learned about Uruk and Gilgamesh's oppressive reign, Enkidu's rage grew. Shamat told Enkidu about Gilgamesh's cruelty and his upcoming plans to exploit yet another wedding. Enkidu, furious, decided to confront the tyrant king. But could this wild man really defeat someone as powerful as Gilgamesh? And more importantly, would they destroy or transform each other? This encounter between two opposites is what makes their story so compelling. Have you ever met someone who was the opposite of you but ended up becoming a life-changing force? The epic battle and a legendary friendship. Enkidu arrived in Uruk just as Gilgamesh was about to claim another bride on her wedding day. Outraged, Enkidu confronted him in front of the crowd, challenging his authority and pride. The confrontation quickly escalated into a 7-day-long battle, with the two demigods exchanging powerful blows that shook the city. The force of their fight was unimaginable. Each punch echoed through the walls of Uruk, causing cracks in buildings and scattering debris. Onlookers watched in awe, terrified yet unable to look away. Despite Gilgamesh's initial dominance, he met his match in Enkidu. Neither could overpower the other. But something unexpected happened. They began to admire each other's strength and determination. Their battle ended not with a victor but with an embrace. From that moment on, they became the closest of friends, embarking on epic adventures together. Enkidu's influence softened Gilgamesh, making him a more compassionate leader. He no longer saw himself as a god above all others but as a man who could learn and grow. The respect they shared laid the foundation for an unbreakable bond, one that would inspire legends. Do you think even the strongest of enemies can become allies if they share mutual respect? Their bond showed that even the fiercest rivalries can evolve into something profound. Have you ever experienced a moment when someone you thought was your enemy became your closest ally? The battle against Humbaba. Seeking glory and immortality, Gilgamesh and Enkidu set out on their first major quest, to conquer the cedar forest and defeat the monstrous guardian Humbaba. The demon, known for his terrifying roar and deadly aura, protected the forest sacred to the gods. Despite warnings, Gilgamesh believed this victory would immortalize their names. The journey to the cedar forest was perilous. They crossed mountains, fought off wild beasts, and navigated treacherous terrain. As they ventured deeper into the forest, they encountered eerie silence and towering trees that seemed to block out the sky. When they faced the demon, fear gripped them. Humbaba was more terrifying than they imagined. His monstrous appearance and powerful presence seemed invincible, but driven by courage and their bond, they fought fiercely. Gilgamesh wielded his axe, while Enkidu struck with his spear. Together, they managed to defeat the monster. As Humbaba lay dying, he cursed them both, warning that the gods would punish them for this crime. Still, Gilgamesh and Enkidu celebrated their victory, returning to Uruk as heroes. But their triumph came with a price. They had angered the gods. If you knew victory would lead to your downfall, would you still take the risk? Was it worth the glory, or would the cost prove too great? The wrath of the gods, Enkidu's death. Their next battle was against the Bull of Heaven, a divine creature sent by the goddess Ishtar after Gilgamesh rejected her advances. Furious at his refusal, Ishtar unleashed the bull to destroy Uruk. Gilgamesh and Enkidu fought together once again, using their combined strength to defeat the beast. But their victory pushed the gods too far. The Council of Gods declared that one of them had to die to atone for their defiance. Enkidu, who had held the bull by the horns during the final blow, was chosen. Soon after, Enkidu fell gravely ill, suffering visions of the underworld and cursing his fate. Gilgamesh, devastated, stayed by his friend's side until Enkidu breathed his last breath. His death shattered Gilgamesh, who wept bitterly and realized the harsh reality of mortality. Enkidu's death wasn't just a loss of a friend, it marked the beginning of a new quest. Gilgamesh's arrogance dissolved, replaced by fear and sorrow. What would you do if you lost your closest friend? How far would you go to bring them back? This moment transformed Gilgamesh forever. The search for immortality. Terrified by death, Gilgamesh embarked on a journey to discover the secret of eternal life. His quest led him across treacherous terrains, from mountains to deserts, until he reached Utnapishtim, the immortal man who survived the Great Flood. Gilgamesh hoped to learn how to gain immortality for himself and bring back Enkidu. Utnapishtim, however, explained that immortality was a gift reserved for the gods. Still, he revealed a secret, a plant hidden at the bottom of the sea that could restore youth. Determined, Gilgamesh dived into the sea, retrieved the plant, and emerged victorious. But fate had one last cruel trick to play. While resting by a lake, a snake slithered by and devoured the plant, shedding its skin and rejuvenating itself. Gilgamesh watched in despair, realizing that immortality had slipped through his fingers. Defeated, he returned to Uruk, carrying with him the painful knowledge that death was inevitable. If you knew you couldn't live forever, what would you do to leave a lasting legacy? This is a question that has haunted humanity for generations. Legacy, the true form of immortality. Back in Uruk, Gilgamesh reflected on what he had learned. He realized that immortality wasn't about living forever, it was about the legacy one leaves behind. Looking at the mighty walls of Uruk and its grand temples, Gilgamesh saw the impact of his reign. He decided to immortalize his story and the adventures he shared with Enkidu by carving them into clay tablets. His tale, known as the Epic of Gilgamesh, would be passed down through generations, ensuring that his name would never be forgotten. He accepted his mortality, but he had achieved something greater, a legacy that would last forever. Even today, the lessons from Gilgamesh's story remind us of the importance of friendship, humility, and the acceptance of life's inevitable end. His story is a reminder that while we cannot live forever, we can create something enduring. What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind?